You'll know our next guest from such shows as Gotham and The OC, but you might not know that he's also an authority on crypto. Welcome, actor and author Ben McKenzie. Nice. I made you an authority, by the way, so you must be.
Yeah, you said it.
You must now speak authoritatively on crypto and answer all my questions that I have.
Indeed. You can trust me. I'm famous.
All right. Explain crypto to me like I'm an 8-year-old, and I've heard about it, but I don't understand it.
Sure. So cryptocurrency calls itself a currency, money, but it isn't. But it doesn't work like money. Words have meaning. So in economics, currencies do things. They're a medium of exchange. If you ask most people what money is, they look at you like you're stupid.
Yeah.
Everyone knows.
I need more of it, but it's in my wallet, or I got a credit card.
Yeah. What do you do with it? You buy stuff with
it.
Well, cryptos, you don't actually buy things with it. You trade it, and you hope to get more of it, and then eventually you got to cash out into real money to buy stuff with it, which is interesting, right? So it calls itself a currency, except it doesn't actually work like a currency. So what is it? So you put money into it, you expect to make money off of it. Under American law, that's an investment contract, that's a security. Securities have been regulated in the United States since the 1930s because
things happened in the 20s?
In the 20s, things happened. It didn't go so well.
Right.
It was the Wild West. People could do all kinds of stuff, corner the market, manipulate the market, whatever. So now, 100 years later, almost exactly, we are back to where we were in the 20s, and we are, trading unregistered, unlicensed securities on unregistered, unlicensed markets, exchanges that are registered overseas or not registered at all through shell corporations in the Caribbean run through those things. So it's the Wild West right now.
You mentioned Wild West, and that stuck with me as the analogy, right? And in this Wild West, what I keep hearing is, bro, crypto's the next big thing, bro.
Right.
And you know what's also the next big thing, bro? NFTs.
Yes.
So what's an NFT?
I can't tell you what it is.
Okay, so I felt, before you came on, I asked everyone, I'm like, hey, I don't know what an NFT is. And the crew's like, we don't know either.
That's right. What it's not, do not say it's a JPEG stored on a blockchain. If you say it's a JPEG stored on a blockchain, they get very mad at you.
All right,
it's not just you can't just right click and save. It is not just like a piece of
it stands for non-fungible token, but that even makes me more confused.
So look, you're putting a piece of, I'm an artist.
Yeah.
I'm an actor, performer. I obviously support artists. I support digital art. I think digital art can be super cool. I don't know why it needs to be stored on a blockchain. I don't know why you need to sort of create some sort of artificial scarcity in order to create a marketplace that then is easily manipulated. In crypto markets, academic studies have shown that somewhere between 70 and 90% of the volume in those markets is wash trading, fake volume. Because you can set up a lot of wallets, you can basically create what appears to be a marketplace for something that in fact doesn't really exist.
It sounds like a Ponzi scheme to me.
It's similar to a Ponzi, a multi-level marketing scheme. I've heard crypto described as Mary Kay for men. That's going to trigger some people.
That's triggering.
That's going to trigger some people. I'm going to get some tweets about that.
Larry, Dave, and LeBron might not like that.
Oh, Larry's going to be so mad at me.
Yeah. Because look, you sound very skeptical of crypto. Just a little bit, just a tad. And I just don't buy it. People have been trying to sell this crypto to me for years, and I'm just like, precisely with what you said. It goes, I don't understand it. It seems that people who are already rich have made a lot of money off it.
Yes.
And now that it's gone mainstream, my fear, and tell me if this is unfounded fear, my fear is that the average Jose is like, all right, I'm going to get into crypto.
Yeah.
But then they're not going to get anything. What are some of the concerns? And I'm just telling you straight up, those were my concerns. But
of course.
What are some of your concerns about this cryptocurrency?
Exactly the same. So a study came out recently, I believe commissioned by a Bitcoin company, that said something like over half of the investors in crypto came within the last year. And so you're absolutely right. People are coming in right now as they see, if you want the guiding philosophy of crypto, it's number go up. That's the philosophy.
Yep.
That's the organizing principle, is let's look at this number as it goes up. Well, unfortunately, numbers don't go up forever, even in manipulated markets. So my worry is that the average Joe, Jose, is going to, if he puts too much money into it, get himself in trouble. These things do happen in bubbles, historically speaking. Charles Ponzi, a product of the 20s, 1919, 1920. You had penny stocks in the 80s. You had microcap in the dot-com era. The problem is that eventually those things...
It bursts.
They burst. The bubbles don't slowly deflate. Otherwise there wouldn't be bubbles.
And the people, and when the bubble bursts, with the historical trend that you just mapped out, the people who invested early, the people who had the money, they're fine. They're always fine.
They cashed out.
They always fail up.
Yes.
It's the rest of us who get screwed, right?
That's right. That's right. And if you think of it as an MLM, a multi-level marketing, then if you got in early, then you have done well. And I'm not trying to talk trash about everybody, and I'm not trying to say that people have poor motivations across the board. I'm just saying that economically speaking, it's a zero-sum game. It's like gambling, right? You sit at a table and you play cards, in Vegas. Now, the money in the pot, you might win it, you might lose it, but you didn't create any value. It came from the players seated at the table. And by the way, the house is taking the rake, right?
House always wins.
Yeah, they're taking a little bit of money, right? That's like, so could you win in Vegas? Of course you could win in Vegas. But over time, if you play long enough, then of course you're losing, because otherwise, how do they keep the lights on in the casino, right? So unfortunately, it's worse than Vegas because these are unregulated, unlicensed casinos, right? These are casinos that are more akin to sort of like bucket shops from the 20s. These are places where all sorts of manipulations happen.
You spent a lot of time on this, and a lot of people are watching this right now. They're like, that's the guy from OC. He knows a lot. But people also don't know, actors have multiple passions. You went to University of Virginia, you studied economics, you're into this. When you see this right now, and you see the forecast of crypto, and I'm asking you a question to look in the crystal ball, but you feel like this bubble is going to burst.
I feel like, look, I can't predict the future any more than anyone else, but I would say that the book that I'm writing with Jacob Silverman, we're calling it Easy Money. And the reason we're calling it easy money is, of course, the sort of creation of this fake money called cryptocurrency, but also the fact that because the pandemic required sort of aggressive action by the Federal Reserve and the government in order to sort of keep the economy from crashing, a lot of money got put into the system. And as you've probably noticed, everything's expensive right now.
Yes.
Inflation is pretty strong, very strong. Asset values across the board are raised. And in times like that, you see people fraud tends to percolate. People are taking a lot of risk, there's easy money out there, and they're taking wild risks with it. I'm okay with some of the speculation, and I enjoy a little bit of light gambling, or I used to before I had kids.
No judgment here.
Well, cards is fun if it's for entertainment, but don't put it all on the table. Don't bet more than you can afford to lose. That's my only advice for sort of the folks out there, largely men, who are doing it. It's like, just be careful.
But there's an irony here, because I think on your Twitter handle, you say, don't take financial advice from celebrities, including me.
That's right.
And yet, you are here at the South by Southwest studio, and you're here at South by Southwest talking about crypto, and you have a book coming out next year called Easy Money. And the Easy Money is a play because it's easy money, but with cost attached. It reminds me almost like a Big Short.
Yes.
So this is your Big Short.
It is, yeah. I mean, we want to look at the if it were to come apart, what happens to the people involved, right? The heroes, the villains, the victims. How to make sense of it all. I'm really interested in both money and lying. Money because of my econ degree, but lying because I do it for a living. And there's an awful lot of lying that's going on.
What's the biggest lie right now with crypto?
I start with the basics. The basics is it's not currency. So it's very weird to call something like, hey, I'm going to call you on my phone. This isn't a phone. This is a mug. It doesn't do what a phone does. It's very strange to call something that it doesn't do. The other biggest lie, I would say, is that it's the future of money. If cryptocurrency were to be currency, then that would be private money. Private money is the past of money. It's the 19th century is when we tried private monies in the United States. It was an abysmal failure. Money's a public good. You need money to be issued by the state in order for people to earn it, in order for them to pay taxes, in order for those taxes to pay for the stuff that we all need to use, like the roads, like the hospitals.
Between you and the state, between you and other folks, there's a trust in the money.
Yeah, and look, man, I don't care what side of the political spectrum you are on, unless you actually believe that we don't need roads, we don't need, national defense.
This is a pro-road studio. It's a pro-infrastructure.
Well, there's a lot of talk about, nobody likes the government, right? Everyone's always like talking about how they don't like this and they don't like that. Of course, institutions are not beloved, right? Including like legacy institutions that they're supposedly fighting against, like banking. Like who likes banks?
Right.
Who likes bankers? I don't even
bankers
think
don't like bankers.
I don't think bankers' wives like bankers,
yeah.
right?
They tolerate them.
They tolerate them.
Yeah.
They make a good living.
Yeah.
Sorry, now I'm really talking trash.
No, go for it.
But pointing out making valid criticisms of an institution is one thing, but then you have to propose something better, right? The problem is what they're proposing, what they're doing, I believe is worse.
And that's where they come in, and the pushback is, well, man, you're a traditionalist. And you're a traditionalist the worst ways possible, man. This is the future, the institutions that failed us, this is just parallel to the institutions. You gotta think of currency in a different way.
Sure.
This is digital currency, and you're using the old definition of currency. You need to get with the times.
Right, yeah, totally. Because I couldn't just take my phone out and buy stuff to be delivered to my house tomorrow using...
This is Ben sarcasm.
Well, what do you mean by digital money? I could literally go on my phone and go to Amazon or whatever.
Or you can even go to Starbucks right now or any other store and just put your phone.
I don't have cash in my wallet right now.
Who has cash nowadays?
Right?
Yeah.
So what are you talking about? And why is this money that you're talking about, why is that being issued by companies effectively? They want to call themselves
private companies.
Yeah,
right.
It's that's interesting.
So you're asking us to not put the trust in the financial institutions that have historically screwed Americans multiple times in our generation.
True.
But no, go trust the Silicon Valley upstarts. They'll do a better job.
Yeah. The plucky upstarts funded by venture capital. Yeah, look, man. These
are fighting words right now at South by because we have blockchain. You've seen it. You've walked around.
I was at a blockchain party yesterday.
Yeah, they're sponsoring stuff.
Sure.
They're teaming up with mainstream corporations. This is seen as the future. They're here, literally at South by right now. And you're the guy coming out and said, "Wait a second. I'm calling BS on this."
Yeah, so look, digital art has value. Changes to the legacy banking system has value. But again, you have to replace it with something that's better. And you have to have, if you're talking about money, there are reasons that we have securities laws. And the main reason is disclosure. You need to know when you're putting your money into something, who the hell you're giving your money to and what they're doing with that money. And there are laws for a reason. We may find out very quickly. But quite frankly, we're finding it out day by day. We see scams, rug pulls, all sorts of things happening in crypto that if they happened in regulated markets, it would be, people would freak out, right? Imagine, people get hacked all the time or lose their money in crypto all the time. Imagine if you had your money in a bank, in an FDIC insured bank, and all of a sudden you're like, oh, I responded to the wrong email and I lost my entire bank account.
She's taking the risk, bro.
Yeah, imagine, just try to, you can't picture it, right? Yeah, no. Because you would raise hell.
Because there's still trust in the
Because the federal government is saying we will not let that happen, right? Now you can say I don't like the federal government, and that's fine. Nobody loves the government. We all have a bone to pick.
But it's an institution that nonetheless has a function in society that you invest in, they invest in you back, there's a relationship and there's a trust that this is FDIC guaranteed.
Right.
If there's a robbery, some of my money is guaranteed through insurance, I'll get it back.
Money's not real.
No.
It is a social construct. It's a government or religion. It requires a critical mass to believe in it for it to function. And you see in countries where they lose faith in the government, where society turns against itself, the governments collapse, the economies collapse, the currencies collapse. You get hyperinflation and things like that. We are privileged in this country to have not experienced that, or certainly not recently, but we are not immune from what has happened in the rest of the world.
Of course not.
And so I just want, particularly from my generation below me, who haven't necessarily experienced the kind of thing I was a young man when the dot-com bust happened. we haven't really experienced, obviously we lived through the financial crisis of 07, 08, but it's been a while. It hasn't been that long, but it's been a while, just long enough for us to forget what can happen. And I'm worried. I understand why people of my generation below me are taking a lot of risk, because quite frankly, they are suffering. There is a generational thing that's happening.
And a lack of trust in institutions.
A lack of trust in institutions, a lack of trust in quite frankly, an older generation that has profited from the system, whereas the younger generation has not. A lot of my peers are still paying off student loans.
Myself included.
Yeah, people below me, really, younger than me, paying off a lot of student loans. That is bad. That puts you in a situation where sometimes you're taking pretty large risks. And so I'm just trying to caution folks. I'm a dad, so I feel like I'm just acting like a dad now in public life.
This is dad-friendly. This is a dad-friendly zone. I'm also a dad.
Okay,
I get it.
Yeah. So it's like, I feel like I'm just like, please don't gamble. But it's like, well, look, only
and if you must gamble a little bit.
Just gamble with what you can afford to lose. Just know that as soon as you put it into something that's very speculative, let's say, like crypto, there is no guarantee that you get any of your money back.
I have to do another pushback for the pro-crypto folks, right? They'll say, all right, I get it. You take out a dollar bill, right? It's a green piece of paper. On it, there says 5. The only reason why this $5 bill has value is because you and I, and enough critical mass, has faith that this green bill says 5 on it, and it's worth 5. So the pro-crypto people will say, all right, just give us time. Just give us time, and we will prove to you that we could build a critical mass that this non-fungible currency that we're calling a currency is worth something. Why don't you just give us time, Ben?
I mean, I'll give them all the time that they want. I'm not putting my money into it, but if they want to go out and play with it and tell me it's going to happen in the future, but this has been happening for a long time. They've been saying that it's going to happen for a long time. There's a lot of pushbacks I could give on that. I would say one of the most sort of fundamental is actually the technology itself. So how old is blockchain? How long has it been around?
10?
30.
Whoa.
Blockchain goes back to at least 1991. Stuart Haber and Scott W. Stornetta at Bell Labs. Crypto, the Bitcoin white paper written in 2008, really combined two existing technologies: blockchain and public key encryption. Public key encryption is even older. It actually goes back to the 70s. So you're encrypting something and you're putting it on a blockchain. A blockchain is just a distributed ledger. It's interesting, but it doesn't scale. So the problem with sort of saying we're early, and if we can just, if we just get more people in,
more
people in,
another 20 years, another 30 years.
If we just got more people into the Ponzi multi-level marketing, then eventually we'd all be fine, right? By the way, if you're interested in sort of the history of that and the nationalizations of Ponzi schemes, like you can go to Albania. There was actually a national Ponzi that actually created a civil war. Don't want to scare people. I don't think that's going to happen here. But these are not. The reason that the blockchain is not scalable, unless they invent some new wrinkle that has yet to be discovered, is that the proof of work, the mining of the Bitcoin itself is very energy intensive, and really it's very slow. It just doesn't work very well. And so the professors of computer science that Jacob and I have interviewed are, to say they're skeptical would be an understatement. They just, it doesn't work. It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. You could print a dollar bill easy, but to mine this, the amount of resources, the amount of time, the amount of money to mine it.
I mean, you're trying to run a distributed ledger over, all of these different systems all over the world. It just doesn't work very well. And there's not a good solution to that right now. They keep saying that there will be. They keep saying that at some point they'll solve this. But while they're trying to solve it, a lot of money's going in, and it's going to certain people and not going to others. So color me skeptical.
It's what we call the inshallah of money, the God willing.
Yes, exactly.
Inshallah will happen. Inshallah will happen.
Yeah.
Real quick,
sure.
Your response to when you see Matt Damon, your friend Larry David, and LeBron, the GOAT, shilling for crypto in commercials during the Super Bowl.
Look, it's a little disappointing. I will say that I don't want to just talk about the celebrities because the celebrities are, just the megaphone that's needed. It's sort of at the end point of the MLM. At the end of the MLM life cycle, so you need more and more and more people to buy into it to keep it going because it doesn't actually create any value. You just need to kind of keep moving the money around.
More folks.
So it makes sense that some of these companies that have made money, and by the way, how did they make money? Where did that money come from? Well, when you gave them your money, they're using that money, some of it, to create these marketing campaigns, and so a lot of it's debt financed money, which eventually, again, going back to the title of our book, Easy Money, eventually when the Fed raises interest rates, a lot of that stuff will go away. But celebrities are just the megaphone. So is it a problem? Sure, but it's really a symptom of a much bigger problem, right? The bigger problem is you're selling unregistered, unlicensed securities, and it's pretty weird to have that happen on the Super Bowl, like to have
the biggest platform to get the average Jose's and Janes to come in and invest. Is you're getting Larry David and Matt Damon and LeBron, and that's what you're saying is the problem.
It's a problem, and the Larry David ad in particular, like just to talk about that. Obviously, Larry David's an incredible comedian, and he's highly successful and deservedly so. But they don't even present a positive argument for crypto itself. All he is he's the skeptic who doesn't believe in whatever, the wheel or the light bulb, and so they imply that crypto is the same, but they never actually tell you why. Why is it so revolutionary? What does it do? It's kind of genius level marketing, but color me skeptical that it'll last very long.
And the skepticism is fleshed out in the book Easy Money. It's going to come out next year, and you're here at South by Southwest. You're giving a panel presentation. When and where can people see you at South by?
I'll be giving a panel presentation today, 2:30 Texas time. And I've got a friend who sent in a video, a little comic video to start us off, so that should be entertaining, kind of poking fun at some of this crypto stuff, because I feel like you got to fight it at its own. I love economists, but no one pays attention to economists.
But they will pay attention to Ben McKenzie.
Well, you got to fight them in the, you can't choose your battlefield in some ways, right? Like they're fighting through social media, so you got to fight them the same way. So we're going to poke fun at some of the absurdities, and 2:30 to 3:30 here at South by, and I hope people will come and check it out.
Well, because of this conversation, I'm going to get a lot of pro-crypto trolls on social media, so thank you, Ben McKenzie, for coming here and getting me more haters. I appreciate it. Thanks for your time. The book Easy Money is coming out next year, and also go check out Ben's panel later today at South by Southwest. Don't forget, you can watch all of our studio interviews on the South by Southwest TV app, available on Apple TV, Roku, Android TV, and Amazon Fire. These interviews are also available on our YouTube channel at youtube.com/SXSW. And for a complete list of our interview schedule, check out sxsw.com/studio. I'm Wajat Ali. Thanks for tuning in.